So startups are not only about products, and they are not only about customers. Startups is about building companies, about building organizations. This is the biggest challenge that every entrepreneur faces every day. They are not building only products. They are building an organization, a big organism, a big machine. And the challenge is, how can you build it, right? Okay, good start. So we spoke about the traditional learning, entrepreneurship, like education out there, how people learn. Let's start with a story. Do we all like stories?
Yes.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a very wise king. Very wise king. And this king had a problem. He had 4 wise men in his kingdom. And those wise men, they started fighting each other. So he was not getting any proper advice from them. Everyone was trying to prove that he is the right advisor, right? So this king said, okay, let's do something interesting. So he got those 4 wise men into his large garden, huge garden, right? And he blindfolded every one of them, right? They couldn't see anything. And then he brought this nice elephant in the middle of the garden. And then he took each one of them and said, go and touch this thing and let me know what do you think is this. So the first wise man, he touched the nose. What do you call this?
Trunk.
The trunk. And then he said, oh wow, this is a huge pipe. You must be building some sort of a water system in the garden. I said, okay. Then the other one came and he touched the legs. And he said, wow, this looks like huge pillars. Maybe you're building some sort of a palace, a new thing, some construction there. Okay. And then the third one, he came and he touched the ears. And he said, oh, these are fans for you for the summer days, right? And the third one, he touched the tail. And he said, this looks like a long rope. Maybe you want to tie something. And then the king, he took the blindfolded and showed them the elephant. And they were all surprised. They were very embarrassed. And what's the moral of the story? Were they wrong? Were they wrong?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Who says yes? Who says no? They were not wrong and they were not right. Yes, they were right in terms of the individual elements they described. But they were wrong in describing the whole thing. And this is what happens many times when we speak about startups, when we are taught about startups. People speak about funding, speak about team building, speak about the product development, speak about individual things. They are not wrong. These are very important things. But many times we lose the big picture. We lose the perspective. We lose what kind of thing we are dealing with, right? So I believe if we want to understand startups and we want to understand the kind of thing that we are dealing with, we need to have a multi-perspective for the startup. And these are the kind of perspectives that all the time you need to be thinking about. And you need to know in which perspective you are thinking now. First, the most famous one is what? The financial perspective. What does this mean? Money. How money is involved in startups?
Cash flow, balance sheet.
Cash flow coming in from sales, from revenues, profits, costs, what else? Investments, what else? Say again?
Return on equity.
Return on equity. All these financials. And this one perspective. The second one is the product or the service. Again, a very important perspective, right? The thing that you are building, whether it's a product or a service you are providing, right? And what's involved here? Give me some lingo. MVP, minimal viable product. What would be the prototype? This is here. What else? Maybe. Yeah, it's kind of gray area. What about roadmap? It's here, right? Product development, right? Features. All these architecture, system architecture of the product that you are building, right? All these kind of things is here. Third one is the team. Give me some examples about team perspective related stuff.
Hiring,
firing, finding co-founders.
attributes,
Skills, motivation, commitment. All these kind of things are team related stuff. Yeah, go ahead. Culture. All things related to the people, to the individuals within the startup is in this perspective. This is the customers you are dealing with. This could be related to customer satisfaction, sales and marketing, anything that has to do with reaching out to your market, promoting your product, selling your product, providing services for this segment. Management. How is management different than team? Ideas.
Organization management, strategy.
It's more of the, like the vision, the direction that the company. So this is management, and the more people you have, like if you are a two-company person, maybe you wouldn't have a clear distinction between the team and the manager because you are two persons, right? But the moment you start growing in numbers, you will need to add some sort of another layer of setting direction, making sure that the team is working in harmony together, and we will speak about that. Yes?
Might have to do with the strategic versus operational decision.
Could be. Yeah, true. A last one is something I called organizational systems. Could you give me an example for organizational systems? What would be a good example of organizational systems?
CRM.
Yes, customer relationship management. This is a tool in order to help you better manage the relations with your customers. When do you usually get a CRM? When you get your first customer?
No, when you're gonna have trouble.
When you more customers that it's very hard to manage it manually with the old ways. You need to get more supporting systems to help you continue what you are doing, right? So these are examples of organizational systems that you bring into the organization to help you manage the increasing complexity. You will hear the word complexity more often from now.
Would be like Salesforce if you brought them in?
Again, Salesforce. Salesforce is a CRM actually. So it's a specific example of a CRM.
It's become easier because of the cloud model.
These are all examples of like tools you bring into the organization. True.
Where does manufacturing and operations go?
You tell me.
I would think we'd go into organizational systems.
It depends on. So here's the thing. When you say manufacturing, we need to unpack it. Do you mean the manufacturing team? The manufacturing process?
Well, there's operations, and there's sometimes operations manufacturing are one and the same. Sometimes they're different.
Yeah. What are you speaking about? Are you speaking about the function, the people, or the end result of manufacturing?
Well, in the case of manufacturing, I was thinking the physical.
Say again?
The physical process.
The physical process.
Yeah.
So it's more of like how you design the process of manufacturing a certain product and the machinery you will get in to produce this product.
And how you design it to scale.
Organization systems. Because before you design this, if you are a 5-person, the way you were producing these products, either you do it by like simple machinery or maybe outsourcing, so you didn't have this within the company. But once you start growing, you need to build this within the organization, right? So
be careful about that. You don't do something like what Webvan did, where they built a massive distribution
True.
manufacturing,
true.
and they never were able to scale to finish.
We will speak about the scaling. It's very important to know, like, I want you to have this strong sense when you speak, which perspective now you are discussing. Are you speaking about the teams? Are you speaking about the financials? Because many times we mix all things together. Like yesterday when we speak about like the business planning, the execution planning, I don't know if you have noticed or not, but we were mixing lots of things together, right? So these are the different perspectives. So this is a very important concept. The second important concept is the concept of the life cycle. There has been lots of research on that. And let me remind you, the reason we are getting into a little bit of is, if you remember, yesterday we spoke about the 3 traditional ways of teaching entrepreneurship. And we said that they have their own limitations because most of the time either they are too theoretical or they focus on individual experience. And individual experience is not telling you the full story. All right? So that's why we are speaking a little bit about some theory here. So what does this say? The life cycle idea says that each organization, they go through distinct stages in their life cycle. Distinct. And most of these stages are common across all organizations. It's like humans. Each human, we go through distinct stages. I will send you the slides, so don't bother about writing down. So each human go through distinct stages. And we all go through the same stages. Although none of us is the same like the other person, yet we go through the same stages. And this is exactly what happens in organizations. No company, no organization is like another one, yet organizations go through the same stages. Okay? And there are different naming for these stages, right? So my reference called these stages was this, like courtship, infant, and then a go-go stage, adolescent, prime, late prime, and then there's, if the company, this is the best place in prime, the company want to stay in. But if they couldn't stay there, they start like falling down. And if you notice, bureaucracy is not a type of organization. You know, it's not a type of organization. Bureaucracy is a state that companies reach to, right? When they reach a certain stage, when they have certain things. Yes?
Well, I think you should mention that they might be acquired anywhere along that line, and then they start as an infant again.
True.
Inside another company.
Yeah, they might be implanted in another thing. Yeah, true. So, okay. So here's what we will do. We need to form. How many are here today? Okay. So let's form teams of 5. If you want to stay in, this is fine. But let's form teams of 5. We will do a very interesting exercise. Go. So here's what we're going to do.
We're going to get old and crusty and then die.
So this team, you will be responsible for the financial perspective. Okay? Your team will be responsible for the product or the service perspective. This team will be responsible for the team and the management of the team, management style, culture, whatever. And this team will be responsible for customers. Okay? So what we're going to do now is you will discuss within your teams. We will go one stage at a time. So let's say the first stage, we will define the first stage as the very unstructured stage of you just have an idea. Okay. We will define this as the first 3 months. You need to discuss within your team the different perspectives, and then we will have a discussion. You have 2 minutes to discuss that. Very quick. Start now. Okay. Let's start the discussion. So, financial perspective. How does the first stage look like? Keywords.
How much money do we need? What's
No.
the opportunity?
Okay.
And
Okay. Sure. Market size?
yeah, depending on what the opportunity is as well, market size, margins.
Okay. Any other thing? Do you have lots of cash at this stage?
No, that's why you're trying to figure out how much money you need.
So you usually don't have lots of money. Why do you need money at this stage?
Well, if it's just an idea, you don't need money yet. But you're going to need money very shortly to prototype. You're going to need money to just, to someone else's point, to file patents or
Okay.
provisional setup.
What will be the first source of getting a little bit of money? To yourself? Who else?
Family, friends.
Family, friends, and fools, right? 3F. Family, fools, right? You start, getting the first cash from those people, right? If you are very lucky, you might have funding from where?
Grant.
A grant. It's a long process, but you can do it.
Very lucky. Lottery.
Lottery.
Okay.
Seed money. Seed money, right? Maybe. Okay, good. The team over there. Product or service.
Keywords might be prototypes.
Prototype. At this stage, you'll be speak about prototype. Do you know what you're going to build or not yet?
We have an idea.
You have an idea. So probably what you will be doing is massaging this idea, moving around this idea, dancing around this idea, right? You don't yet have...
Start a company, you need something that you know how to do, and you need an idea. Otherwise,
True, but at this stage, will you be confident, go ahead and build a prototype, or you will spend a little bit of time and investigation asking people about the kind of idea you have before going and building the prototype?
Depends who you are. If I work somewhere for 5 years and I know the market, then
Okay,
I just go straight from college and I know.
I'll put it here. What else? Any other thing related to the product?
Market, the market.
So what you were saying?
She said expertise in the area.
Expertise in the area or within the team, you mean?
In the area of the product or service that we're
Building expertise.
Knowledge, market knowledge.
So is it team expertise, or you mean existing expertise in the area that you're working? Say again? Team expertise. Sorry, what you were saying?
No, I think she covered it.
Okay. Any other thing? Product? Good. Team and management. What's happening in the first 3 months?
Deciding who to hire and what teams you need.
To hire?
So, how many people you need to hire?
Is it in the first 3 months? Is it hiring, or it's more of?
I mean, just making the roadmap.
It's more of convincing, right?
Right.
So we're trying to figure out who is suitable to be the co-founder, and that person needs to share the same with someone giving them that message. Is the other person who cannot be as much?
Yeah.
They just hire that person.
Finding co-founders. Commitments. What else?
Finding roles.
Roles? At a very simple division, you take care of the business side, I take care of the technical side.
to have the army behind you.
Yeah.
They need to be able to go do it.
Any comment on like the management style? What do we have a vision? Do we have a strategy?
We have this idea here that the roles should be somewhat equal, so
Yeah.
it can work independently.
But are we in a position to develop like a strategy and stuff in the first 3 months? No. It's very intuitive, very like driven. You don't want to spend time on like business plans and strategy. You just want to go understand the market. You want to build some sort of prototype and test it, right? Any other thing? Good. Customers. What's happening in this perspective?
We said at the particular point in time, you just gauge what our customer, what our customers and then also go out, leave the office, interview some customers, figure out what they want to see in the prototype or MVP that we're putting out first, understand their concerns, and be able to, so we can address those in the coming stages.
So you are just exploring the customers. Who are the right customers? Probably you will start, usually either you have a cool technology and you want to understand who will buy this technology or who will buy this product, or you are aware of existing problem, so you know the customers and you want to build a service or a solution to solve this specific problem, right? But most of the time, especially in this area, we start with the technology. We have a cool technology, we have a cool idea, and we start looking for customers, right? Interesting. So, collectively, do we have any organizational systems at this stage?
A laptop.
A laptop, email.
You probably have a spreadsheet to list out all the possible markets and data about each market.
Yeah, these are the most sophisticated systems you will use. Email and I would say Office. Good. Let's move to the next stage. And you should have a feel now how the second stage will look like. Let's say that now you have some sort of an idea, who are the customers, you build some sort of specs about what kind of product you are going to build, you have a little bit of cash from friends, family, and some fools, and let's say that you found your co-founder, a business or a technical co-founder. Let's think together about the second stage. Start. What's the answers? What's happening? What's happening on the second stage?
Financial support.
Do you have enough money?
No.
Not enough money. Probably all the time. What are the possible options you have to raise money at this stage? You still don't have anything, right? You don't have customers, you haven't finished the prototype or whatever, you haven't finished.
Best to continue to market your idea, generate some new income, maybe go back to friends and family.
Okay, generate a new income. This is possible if your product has a low cost of development and you can get like few customers in the beginning. Like most of the software business, the web business, you can start generating some money, right? With the friends and family money. You can start generating some customers and a little bit of cash. Not to make the company profitable, but like to get you some cash. But if you are building a consumer product, a hardware thing, right? You wouldn't be able to sell this unless you have a prototype, you test it, and you do all sorts of packaging, everything, right? So it's very hard to like customer finance it, right? Or bootstrap it from existing customers. Probably what you will need is, after the friends and family, maybe you will start looking at seed funding. What's seed funding? How large is the seed funding? $1 million? 5 to 10,000. And what's the main objective of a seed funding? Help you do what?
Get off the ground.
Yeah, mainly build a prototype. Mainly. Funding. Or you could get another thing, which is angel funding. Who are the angel investors?
There are individuals who are willing to provide you capital oftentimes in return for a equity stake in your company.
Yeah, there are individuals who want to invest in companies. And usually those are entrepreneurs, wealthy people. Those are typically angel investors, right? And they will invest in exchange of equity or ownership in your company, right? And typically angel investment is in what range? Yeah, in this range, 25 to 300. What happens sometimes, group of angel investors, they come together and they syndicate their funds and they form an angel network so that they can invest in larger deals. And this gets tricky because this will make them similar to another kind of investment, which is what? The venture capital, the VCs, right? But probably it's not common at this stage that you raise funding. If you are a successful entrepreneur, this is like your second venture, and you have the credibility, you have the network, you have the connection. Maybe you can raise funding from VCs just on the idea, right? But if you are a first-time entrepreneur, you want to establish your reputation, you want to establish your credibility, it's very hard to raise from VCs at this stage, right? Any other thing happening on financials? In order to get seed and angel, what would you need to do?
So we're putting together a plan and a pitch. To the
Yeah.
investors.
You need to have a pitch. What's a pitch?
So it's going to be kind of the dream of the product,
Yeah.
prospect.
It's a kind of 1 minute, 30 seconds summary of the idea, the customers, everything, right? And you need to do lots of networking, right? In order to find those seed investors and angel investors, you need to go out there and do lots of networking. Is this easy? Networking? For some people. What are you investing in networking? Or Kickstarter, yeah. What are you investing in networking?
It takes a lot of time.
Time and energy, right? Time. So it can take from the time you spend on the product, right? And this is where it gets tricky. Now you want the cash in order to develop the product, but you will be losing time that you will invest in the product, right? Okay. Could you tell us more about Kickstarter? What's Kickstarter? It's a crowdfunding platform. What's a cloud? Anyone? You raise funding, and instead of raising funding from individuals or organizations, you raise funding from the crowd, right? And right now in the US, you can raise funding from the crowd in exchange of products or gifts or services, whatever. But you cannot raise funding in exchange of equity. This is not yet approved. It's still in the discussion, but I mean it's coming maybe in a year or so. So Kickstarter, Indiegogo, there's few platforms that you can do crowdfunding on. Good. Product and services, what's happening?
Sorry, just a quick question. For seed investing,
Yeah.
do you typically give your company for that?
Yeah. In any investment, you give a stake, right? And this is a whole thing on itself, investment and term sheets. It's a big thing, right? It's one of the things you need to build your own knowledge and competence in, right? What's happening on the product side?
Okay, so stage one, we created a very rudimentary prototype. Stage two, we're going to refine it, and we're going to use R&D to try to get some research on the viability of the product, test it, and see if there's any problems or pitfalls. And then, let's see, considering outsourcing, maybe we could partner up with like an IDO to develop
Yeah.
a product.
So they are thinking about a consumer product. It's not a software. They speak about a physical product, right? That's why they speak about manufacturing, outsourcing, and so on. And at this stage, you'll be faced with lots of questions like, should I design this myself? Should I manufacture it myself? Should I get someone else to do it for me? And then you'll be faced with lots of financial questions. How much will it cost? Versus the quality, versus the speed, right? Okay. What else?
Lead times involved.
Lead time.
Development cycle.
How long will it take me to refine the product in these iterations? I have a prototype. How can I take this prototype to the next level, right? And this will be governed to a great extent by the funding you have, by the team you have, right? And the connections you have with customers, because they are the one giving you feedback, right? Start getting...
It's kind of like proof of concept. You're proving, does this really have viability?
Yeah, this is the viability part. Yeah, great. What's happening on the team side? How many people are in the team now?
Just you, your co-founder, probably.
Yeah, probably you're still two. If you found a co-founder, maybe you're still struggling, right? What else happening within the team?
Prepare a sort of vision and values statement and agree on what you want the company to be. And ensure that
Do you know the stages of team formation? Have you heard about that?
Forming, norming, and swarming.
Yeah. Could you tell us more about it?
Well, yeah, it's kind of a psychology that you get into a group, everyone heard and what experience. There's the storming phase.
The first one is what? Forming?
Some of them I think it might be four. I remember forming, storming, and norming has been really performing.
Right? So the forming is just getting together, know each other, and what's storming?
Disagreements.
You start fighting. Why you are fighting?
you don't agree with each other.
Why you don't agree with each other?
There could be a number of things.
Because you have the best idea.
Could be. You're still building your trust with each other, right? You're still understanding each other, right? So there will be lots of conflicts. You haven't agreed on certain mechanisms. You are testing each other's limits. You are testing each other's power. You are testing each other's capabilities and skills, right? I'll give you something to do, and I would have high expectation from you, and then you wouldn't do it the same level I thought. I mean, yeah, he's not very good at that thing. Okay? So expectations. So people start storming, and any team, they go through this. Even relationships, they go through the same stages. And what about norming? What happens here?
Like learning, you want to understand the other.
You start to develop your own norms,
Your standards.
standards, decision making. This is what, okay, if we have a conflict, this is what we're going to do. If you're upset, hide it. Come and speak with me, right? Don't we all do that? We agree on things. Okay, if we are upset, let's take a couple of days not discussing these things, and then we can, until we cool down, and then we can speak, right? These kind of things. I usually forget, so send me reminders. We start develop these kind of norms, right? And after we successfully do that, we stop performing. Sometimes it takes few iterations, right? Especially if new people coming in to the team, right? So, is this what's happening at this stage? What's happening now? It's storming, right? Storming about what?
Equity.
Equity. We will start discussing how we are going to split the ownership of the company. Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? Is it 30-70? How we are going to do that? It's a whole thing on itself. Splitting equity. Tons of information. I did my own calculation for splitting equity. all sort of things. What else? Other than equity. Conflicts comes from what? Trust. In what sense?
Like, what do you do? Like,
Tasks, yes. What about tasks?
like, assign to the task.
Yeah.
So people reach agreement on who is doing what.
Yeah. So we might assign tasks, but they are not like performed at the quality we expect. So we start saying, I mean, you are not pulling your weight, for example, right? What else?
Product direction.
Direction, very important. What's the problem with the product direction?
That you and your co-founder might have different views and be pushing in different directions.
It could be a feature in the product, and you will start arguing, should we have this feature or not? Should we do outsourcing or not? Right? And how do you usually resolve this? You need to agree on what? Decision making, right? How you will make decisions, how you will take decisions. Any other thing on the team side?
Work ethic.
Work ethic. What about it?
Well, everybody will put in whatever it takes, 10, 12-hour days if necessary, but everyone would come in agreement that they share that same way.
So more of a commitment, right? Yes, true. What else?
So don't the founders have to decide on a management style, or what's the...
Do usually people come together and say, okay, let's agree on the management style? No. Why?
They just create it.
Yeah, I mean, startups, I mean, they evolve because of customers and products. Many times we ignore the whole structure that supports this thing, right? So we just go and either build a product or sell to the customer, speak with customers. And many times we overlook the team dynamics, the management style, how we are, the decision making, these kind of soft things, right? We say, don't worry about that. Let's build the damn thing and let's sell it, and then we can settle things. Yes, we can do that. If we agree that later on we will like look at these kind of things. But many times it's kind of a snowball effect. You get into this game and it's a very fast game, and usually you don't have the time to back and settle things, right? Customers, what's happening? Customers? No customers? What's the key challenges?
You got to find your first customer.
First customer, this is the problem. What's the problem with the first customer?
We have no credibility.
You have no credibility. Why? You are all smart people. You're from MIT.
No history.
No history. What do you mean by no history?
We haven't sold to anyone else.
No references. They know that they are the first customers. You are testing on them. Right?
You don't have to tell them.
And they will ask you the most embarrassing question in the world. What is it? Who else is using that? The most embarrassing, right? And you need to have a soft answer. You cannot say no one. You need to have some sort of pilots. You need to have some sort of trial. Sometimes you might even give the product for free to have some users. And then they will be more mean and will ask you how many paying customers you have. Right? So get ready for these kind of questions. But this is the main problem. First, customers. What else about customers? Is it easy to find the first customer or customers? Why it's not easy? Other than the credibility. Credibility, you assume that you found them and you start the discussion. But let's take one step backward. Is it easy to find the first customers?
Sometimes our technology or product is radical innovation, so we don't know who is the user or even your customer.
Okay.
So there is a big difference between users and customers.
What else? When we say finding customers, what do we mean exactly?
People we need to pay for a product.
People what?
We need to pay.
Okay. Are we speak about business to business or business to consumers?
Depends on the product.
Let's take one example. Consumers. All right. Okay. How you will reach to those consumers? What do we call that? I mean, how you will reach them? What's the channel, right? You know that your target customers are teens living in Boston, right? Teens living in Boston. How you will reach to them, right? You still don't have your marketing machine, right? So what probably you will need to do?
Find a channel.
Define a channel, or
You're gonna have to get out of the office and find them yourself. Walk on,
you will walk in the streets and find them, or
you could hire campus. Call it.
do you have the money to hire someone? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
So what you will start doing? You start searching through your own personal network. So this is what happens in customer acquisition. In the first stage, you usually look through your personal networks. You try to look into your personal network who might be relevant first customers within your own network, right?
What about your social network?
Again, it's your network, right? Or do you mean like putting ads and stuff?
Like Facebook or whatever, like online survey.
Like putting ads, like buying services, or just searching through your own network?
Posting like a survey, and then like ask your friends to share it among like their
Yeah.
Facebook social network.
But again, this is through your own network, right? Yes, definitely. Social networks make it very easy now that you can reach to consumers through social networks. Yes, true. What about organization systems? Any sophistication here? Or are you still using email and Excel sheets? Maybe you started using PowerPoint?
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks? Do you think that you need QuickBooks at this stage?
If we're building a prototype,
If someone gave you money, they're going to want to know where it's going.
So this is interesting. So if you got funding, probably you will have to keep track of the money because investors will be asking about how you are spending this money, right? So it might be true that you will start getting some sort of accounting. Accounting systems. Okay. We are past this stage. This will be the last one we speak about. We'll stop at this stage. So let's do this last brainstorming. You have done a great job so far. Think about yourselves, among yourselves, how this third stage will look like. You got, we got some money. We have a little bit of money. We built some sort of a prototype, and we managed to get some feedback about this prototype. We managed to kind of reach some sort of norms, decision making. We split the equity without losing any co-founders. Customers, we managed to convince few people to be our first customers. What will happen next? Yes?
Can you relate the stages there with?
Yeah, I mean, the first stage is this courtship thing. The second one is the infant. The third one is the go-go. Okay. Start.